Okay, so this is Professor Paula DeMarco, and I'm going to talk about the next section of type jamming for your main project number 1, which is called type treatment. If you go into Canvas, you're going to find the MP01 step-by-step part 2.pdf, and these are basically everything that I'm going to be talking about right here. You have previously set up a couple of files. One is one-word type jamming, the other one is, two-word type jamming, the other one's three-word type jamming, and then the third document is four-word type jamming. So now we're going to make changes to the type objects by customizing the letters and words. Simple and subtle changes are really important to good type treatment. So treating the type with care and respect is what most professional designers do. So we don't want any drastic stretching. We don't want any skewing of letters, any stretching of words. We want to be very tactful. And a suggestion that we make is to work on expanding your text so it's not live text, but I'll talk to you more about that when we're starting to change the type. If you notice in my layout, I have a couple of ones that I've already experimented with, and I can go over those. But I experimented with this one, and what I did was I just copied these so that each one of these is a separate box, its own box. So I zoomed into this box. If you want to zoom out to see all of your boxes, you can use the magnifying tool, and you can hold down the Option key to zoom out, and that helps with the minus. You can also use the space bar to move all of your artboards as it's displayed in the screen. To see all the artboards on the screen, if you are zoomed in really close, it is Command Option 0 or Control Alt 0 on the PC. So Control Alt 0, and then I push 0, Control Alt 0, 0, or Command Option 0, and then I see all of my boards. The first thing that we're going to talk about, and that's in the list of step-by-step, is the swatches. And the swatches enable you to look at different colors. There is some requirements for this project for which swatches you're allowed to use, and I'm going to go over that aspect of swatches. So the first thing we want to do is we want to open up the swatches panel, and we go up to the window menu, and we click and drag down, and then there is color here. But you have to go down a little further, and you have to go to the option that says swatches. Now we have a lot of other things that are coming up because these are all attached. So I'm just going to take these out and get rid of these because we just want to look at our swatches. So here's our swatches right here. These are the standard swatches that just appear in every document. If you notice, even there's a couple of swatches under here, and sometimes you will get a little bit. And then also you notice that there is some swatches that have textures in them or patterns in them. So at the upper right hand corner of your swatches panel, you see the little hamburger or the 3 lines. If you click on that, you can see that there's quite a few different options in here, and one of the options is new swatch. So we're going to click on new swatch, and once this comes up, you will see that there is sliders, and notice that there's the 3 colors RGB. They are red, green, and blue. They're not red, yellow, and blue. It's red, green, and blue when we're using light. You're more maybe used to red, yellow, and blue, which is associated with pigments. So we are working on the computer screen. So this is a different color space. So we're going to decide on a color and give the color a descriptive color name. We often use custom names when working on a particular brand, like Home Depot Orange or Coca-Cola Red. But you didn't need to make a name for each swatch, just one for this exercise only. Otherwise, you could keep it defaulted as the RGB name. So we're going to create a color by just dragging in here and grabbing any color. And this is just an exercise for you to see. You can see the swatch name says RGB and it has the number in there. I'm going to call this Free Spirited Purple. And so then we click OK. And it appears right here in the swatch library. So for this project, we are not creating swatches just randomly and how I just showed you. That was just to show you that you can create your own swatch. But we are going to be using from a swatch library that has a list of categories and subcategories. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to that little hamburger at the top. And we're going to come down to Open Swatch Library. And if you notice in Open Swatch Library, there are a lot of different options. There's a lot of different libraries. You have the option to do, and I'll drag this sheet over so you could take a look. You can choose from one of these swatch libraries. And that is, you can choose from art history, any one of these, or you can choose from scientific. And these are your only options for this particular project. And one of the reasons why is you want to keep within the same color scheme. And color has a lot of, color theory has a lot of reasons for choosing certain colors and how they work together. And I don't want you to just randomly pick color. Our idea is for you to follow swatch libraries that are already existing. And so we narrow down to these groups that you can choose from. So we are going to go to the swatch library again, the little hamburger at the top, Open Swatch Library. We're going to go to art history, and then there's ancient, Baroque, Impressionism, Middle Age, all these things are available. I'm going to choose, let's choose Impressionism. So as soon as you choose Impressionism, this little panel pops up, and there's a lot of different options. If you roll over each one of these little, each one of these little boxes or these little groups, you'll see this is Impressionism 1, Impressionism 2, like it has a name. These ones are all just numbered. So this box has come up for you to use, but you need to add them to your swatches over here in order to actually use them and be able to continually use them. So how you add them here is you just click once on the little box and it'll appear in here. So these would be the colors that you would use inside of the boxes that are here. So these would be the colors you would use inside of your artboard. And you can use any of these for your whole entire group of designed artboards that you're going to do for your project. But you want to keep one artboard having all of these, one artboard having all of these, one artboard having all these. You want to narrow it down and keep them all within the same scheme all within the same color scheme. So let's zoom out. Okay, for example, I have a lot of artboards here. You end up going to have just 6 total for each number. So for my 3-word type, I'll have 6. For my 2-word type, I'll have 6. And for my 4-word type, I'll have all 6. And then I would choose which one I want to use. These would all be impressionisms from the Impressionism colors, but I would only use this row in this box, this row in this artboard, and this row in this artboard, and this row in this artboard. That's what I'm trying to explain. Right now we're not in that because we have a lot of other different options. So I just want to show you how to bring the colors in. So right now we're just going to experiment, try things out, and if we like the colors, then we may color scheme, then we may continue on in that. If you want to continue to add more artboards, once again, add more art colors to your swatches, you go to the upper right hand corner of your swatches, you go to Open Swatch Library, and then we have also in Art History other colors, and we have Scientific. We can jump to Scientific, and here's Scientific. There is Triad. I'll grab the Triad, and Triad has these colors in here. So this Triad is a little bit limited because there's only 3 colors there. So obviously all of these colors will work together, so you can try out and see if they would work all together, but this is pretty limited. And chances are you probably won't be able to use Triad for the whole entire thing. So if that's the case, if you wanted to, we're accepting to saying, okay, well, Triad is the only one I'm going to use in this box and this artboard, and Impressionism 5 is the one I'm going to use in this artboard. We're open to that, just as long as you're using the colors within one artboard or groups of artboards. Okay, so I'm going to add a couple more of Impressionisms and bring these in so that I have a bunch, and you just click on the group and they're all in here now. And at any point I can delete these as well. I can click on it and I can push delete and it'll get rid of it. So I can go delete. I think you have to drag it to the trash. Sorry, drag it to the trash. There it is. And oh, push the trash. Yes, get rid of those swatches. Okay, so now, oh, it deleted my one there. There it is. So the next thing we want to do is we want to start to add color. And I'm going to start to add color in the couple of ones that I already started playing around with. And you can see I added a color here already. So to add color with your text, you just click on the box and then you go to your swatches and then you add the color that you want. And I have now just picked from Impressionism 7 and I picked these 3 colors that are to the right here. And so these 2 are here. And so I might really like that and that'll work out. And but let's just say I want to put a color behind it. I don't know if another color is going to work behind this. It kind of works with this color scheme. So let's try another one. Let's go over to this one and let's make a color behind all of these. So if you want to make a color on this box here, on this artboard here, you need to make a box. So you go to the rectangle tool and you click and drag and make a box. The moment you make a box, it fills in with the last color that we just assigned, and you could see that's the blue right here. And so right now I can't see my text because everything in Illustrator is in multiple layers that go on top of each other. So I need to send this to the back. So I'm going to push escape and go to my selection tool. I'm going to right click, and there is an option when you right click and it's under arrange, and in the right click under arrange it says bring to front, bring forward, send to back. I'm going to send to back. So there, that's here now. So if you want to change this color now, if you notice, there is a little box right here that says fill. So this is typically what we've been doing. We've just been filling them. So I click on each one of these and it just fills, right? What a lot of people do too is they click on that little fill, click twice, and then they get this dialog box. I don't want you to use this because you are using swatches, and this is not any of the same swatches. You need to use the swatches that you've taken from the swatch library. But one of the key things that we want you to use is professional designers don't do hard color applications. What they use is they use an option in here called appearance. So you're going to go to window and you're going to go to appearance. That's the appearance panel that you want to bring up. The appearance panel now should have stroke and fill. And you want to make sure that that's the case and it has your fill color that you want. And you can see here are the swatches. Now, if you don't add your swatches to your swatches, if you're just grabbing color from this little library over here, it's not going to appear here. So here we have Middle Ages, and this says Jewish, early Christian, Byzantine. So if I go up to the fill section and I want Byzantine, it's not available. And you should be filling everything within the appearance window, the appearance panel. So if I do want to use the Byzantine, I need to add this to my swatches. So I'm going to come over here, bring my swatches over here so I can see, and I'm going to add the Byzantine to my swatches. So I click, and there it is. Now it's there. So now when I want to fill this box right here with a color, I want to make sure that it is available, and there it is. There's Byzantine. And I can then go in and put in my color. I think I'm going to do this color. Okay? And I want to do the same with the text. Let me close this. So if I want this color, so right now the text doesn't show anything in the appearance. So I'm going to start by clicking on this fill. So I'm going to say new fill. And I'm going to go over here and look for the other Byzantine color that I want to use. There it is. And I want to do the same for the next one. I want to go fill. So you want to use this option for filling, not the option that's on the toolbar. And I'm going to fill it with that. And then I click on this one and I click on fill. And I'm going to fill that one with one more. Is that too dark? Yeah, that's too dark. Okay, so now these are all in the Byzantine color and colors, and then we're also using appearance. There is a reason why we want to use appearance, and I'll show you that in a minute, and that is when we want to add strokes, but we're not doing any strokes. So right now you should have no strokes. You want to make sure your stroke has a big line through it. Okay, you should save. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to save this as adding color. And you always want to make sure that you save. And I'm going to close these swatches. I no longer need these swatches, but I do need the appearance. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mess around with the strokes. I'm going to change things within our design. Now, a stroke, and I have this in the little dialog right here, a stroke is a line that defines the vector shape in a software program. Because Illustrator is considered a vector-based program, everything on the artboard created in Illustrator has points that outline a shape, which are strokes. But often the stroke is 0, so it doesn't have any color to it. Typically, we don't use strokes when we are designing, designers don't use strokes. We do use them for certain types of industry, such as logos or food packaging on logos, or sports logos, or academic type of signage. But I'm going to show you how you can use the strokes anyway. If you decide to use a stroke, you need to do the following. Do not use the stroke option that is right here. Okay, this you don't want to use. That is called a hard stroke, and we want to stay away from using hard strokes. What we want to use is we actually want to use the appearance as for our strokes. So let's go in and find something that we can use for strokes. So this one, oh, that's the wrong info. This should be here. And this should be all caps. Okay. This needs to be a little bit smaller. Okay. So let's just say that we want to make this one have some strokes to it. I don't think these colors are going to work, so I'm going to change the colors. So I'm going to go click on them. Right now they have a hard color to them, so I have to now go to my fill, and I need to change it to the color that I want. I think I'm going to use the same color schemes that are right here. That one. And we're going to go here to fill, and we're going to change this to another one here. Maybe that one. And same thing. I'll pick that color. So then we have these tones. So I'm going to put a stroke around this. So I'm going to go to the do, and I'm going to go to stroke. That's right here in the appearance panel, right there. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to grab from my Byzantine color, and I'm going to put a stroke that's different than the color that's there. So I'm going to put this as the stroke. Okay. So now, if you notice, this stroke has 1 point. This stroke is actually in front of the fill. So as I make it bigger and bigger and bigger, it starts to distort the type. If you notice, the fill becomes really narrow, and this is not what we want to do. If I want to put a stroke, this stroke should be behind the fill. So I'm going to drag this stroke, and I'm going to put it underneath the fill. And so now it's behind here. So do you notice the difference? This one is in front, and this is behind. And I can control it still. I can say, you know, that's just a little too much. But what happens is the stroke, when the stroke is behind, it doesn't distort the type. It keeps the integrity of the type. It just adds the stroke on the outside of the type. Okay. Now the cool thing about this is that you can do multiple strokes as well. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to add a stroke to this one. Go down to Byzantine. Add the stroke that's going to be that color, right? And I'm going to start making it bigger, and I need to make this behind the fill, underneath the fill. So now I can even organize that a little bit more. And let's say I want to do a double stroke here. So if I want to do a double stroke, I just make a new stroke down at the bottom. It says add new. It just duplicates the existing stroke that's there. And on this one, I'm going to make this stroke white. Well, let's make it yellow, just so we could see. Okay. So now this stroke is yellow, although you can't see it here because it's the same exact width as this one. But let's make this one a little bit thicker. This is 8 point. I'm going to make this one 8 more. There it is. It's starting to get bigger and bigger. You could see it. That's 17 point. And let's make it white so we can really see what it looks like. There. Oh, no, we can't. Oh, there you can see the overlap there. So now I'm going to make another stroke here, add stroke. And this one, I'm going to add another color. Okay, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger there. So now you can see that this is more effective by using the appearance panel because you can control the strokes. You can also add more strokes. And all of these strokes here you can't select. They are live on top of this particular design that you're doing. It's live text. Let's say, let's zoom out here so you understand that a little bit better. Okay, so now we're looking at this particular one. We added a couple strokes on these two. And let's say that you want to change this aspect where how like it's going really, really pointy on the top of the ends and the bottom. And there are stroke attributes as well. So I'm going to go up to Window. I'm going to drag down to the option that says Stroke. And I'm going to open this window up. So this window only appears when we really are working with strokes. So if you notice, if I click on this word Judge, nothing appears in the stroke panel. But if I click on this, there is options in here. And let's zoom into this and we can take a look. So in the stroke options, currently there's a cap, there's a corner, and then there's an alignment. And I can change these caps. So I can make this round and not much happening there, but corner, there we go. That's the corner. There's also that. And you can see it's really affecting the top stroke because I am on that stroke right here. So let's try to select something else. Select this one and see if it changes. Yeah, so it changes. So each one that you're selecting here, each stroke that you're selecting here, you can alter how that's designed. So now all of these are rounded because I've selected each one, and I look in the stroke panel and see how they're rounded, and it looks a little nicer. So let me move this out of the way so we can see it. There's that N. So before the N's wasn't like that. So let's bring all of these back. And I can probably hold down the Shift key and select all of these and bring them pointy. Yeah, no, I can't. So that one, yeah, that one has to be there. That one. So that's what it was before. And you see how pointy the end of the stroke looks. Now we can round that out. So I'm going to round it out, and I'm going to round it out on that one, and then I'm going to round it out on that one, and it looks a little better. So the stroke attributes. You can also see in your stroke attributes, sometimes you won't get anything at all. So if you open up your strokes and you're not getting anything, you're just getting the weight, you need to go to the little hamburger in the right-hand corner, the 3 lines, and click and show options, and then all these will appear. So if you had struggling with that, that should help you. Lastly, in the stroke panel, you can make a line, and you can also have arrows. So it gives you the option for arrows. You can't really do this with, live text. It's not going to look right. But if I was to create a line, and there is a line option in your panel, in your toolbox, and if I wanted to put a line here, if I hold down the Shift key, it'll stay straight, right? And then I wanted an arrow to be on one side of the line. Let's make this none. Let's grab this arrow. Now the arrow, this arrow is really big. I like the line, but I don't like how big the arrow is. Plus, if you also look, the end of the arrow is straight, and all this other stuff is rounded. So the first thing I want to do is I want that to be a rounded end. So there's the rounded end, and that is in the cap section, which is right up there. And now I'm going to zoom out. And I want that arrow to be smaller. It's too big. I like the width of the line, but I don't like how big the arrow is. So that is inside of here. You can see that there's a little scale. And so we're going to scale this arrow down. And there, the arrow's down a little smaller. So that will look a little better. And so you can see now, let's zoom out. We now have an arrow, and the arrow can be in dotted lines if you want. Here's the dashes. So there's other attributes that are in the stroke option. So you want to just continue and experiment with using these within this video. The next video, I'm going to introduce something else that is related to type treatment. But for this particular one, you want to try and use the stroke, do the fill, and see where it gets you with your various type that you have that you've been jamming with.